I'm Jeremy. Today's day 161 of reading. Today we're reading Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Let's get started. We're on page 202. I literally just recorded the video, but then I realized at 50 seconds it stopped. It was so annoying. I got so mad. Anyways, let's go. A small gilly water. Mine, said Professor McGonagall's voice. 4 pints of mulled mead. Ta, Rosmerta, said Hagrid. A cherry syrup and soda with ice and umbrella. Said Professor Flitwick, smacking his lips. So you'll be the red currant rum, Minister? Thank you, Rosmerta dear. My dear, said Fudge's voice. Lovely to see you again, I must say. Have one yourself, won't you? Come and join us. Well, thank you very much, Minister. Harry watched the glittering heels march away and back again. His heart was pounding uncomfortably in his throat. Why hadn't it occurred to him that this was the last weekend of the term for the teachers, too? And how long were they going to sit there? He needed time to sneak back into Honeydukes if he wanted to return to school tonight. Hermione's leg gave a nervous twitch next to him. So, what brings you to this neck of the woods, Minister? Came Madame Rosmerta's voice. Harry saw the lower part of Fudge's thick body twist in his chair as though he were checking for eavesdroppers. Then he said in a quiet voice, What else, my dear, but Sirius Black? I dare say you heard what happened up at the school at Halloween? I did hear a rumor, admitted Madame Rosmerta. Did you tell the whole pub, Hagrid? Said Professor McGonagall exasperatedly. Do you think Black's still in the area, Minister? Whispered Madame Rosmerta. I'm sure of it, said Fudge shortly. You know that the Dementors have searched the whole village twice, said Madame Rosmerta, a slight edge to her voice. Scared all my customers away. It's very bad for business, Minister. Rosmerta, my dear, I don't like them any more than you do, said Fudge uncomfortably. Necessary precaution, unfortunately. But there you are. I've just met some of them. They're in a fury against Dumbledore. He won't let them inside the castle grounds. I should think not, said Professor McGonagall sharply. How are we supposed to teach with those horrors floating around? Here, here, squeaked tiny Professor Flitwick, whose feet were dangling a foot from the ground. All the same, demurred Fudge, they are here to protect you all from something much worse. We all know what Black's capable of. Do you know, I still have trouble believing it, said Madame Rosmerta thoughtfully. Of all the people to go over to the dark side, Sirius Black was the last I'd have thought. I mean, I remember him when he was a boy at Hogwarts. If you had told me then what he was going to become, I'd have said you had too much mead. You don't know the half of it, Rosmerta, said Fudge gruffly. The worst he did isn't widely known. The worst? Said Madame Rosmerta, her voice alive with curiosity. Worse than murdering all those poor people, you mean? I certainly do, said Fudge. I can't believe that. What could possibly be worse? You say you remember him at Hogwarts, Rosmerta murmured Professor McGonagall. Do you remember who his best friend was? Naturally, said Madame Rosmerta, with a small laugh. Never saw one without the other. Did you? The number of times I had them in here. Ooh, they used to make me laugh. Quite the doable act. Sirius Black and James Potter. Harry dropped his tankard with a loud clunk. Ron kicked him. Precisely, said Professor McGonagall. Black and Potter, ringleaders of their little gang. Both very bright, of course, exceptionally bright, in fact. But I don't think we've ever had such a pair of troublemakers. I do know, chuckled Hagrid. Fred and George Weasley could give him a run for their money. You'd have thought Black and Potter were brothers, chimed in Professor Flitwick. Inseparable. Of course they were, said Fudge. Potter trusted Black beyond all his other friends. Nothing changed when they left school. Black was best man when James married Lily. They named him his godfather to Harry. Harry has no idea. Of course, you can imagine how the idea would torment him. Because Black turned out to be in league with you-know-who, whispered Madame Rosmerta. Worse even than that, my dear. Fudge dropped his voice and proceeded in a sort of low rumble. Not many people are aware that the Potters knew you-know-who was after them. Dumbledore, who was, of course, working tirelessly against you-know-who, had a number of useful spies. One of them tipped him off, and he alerted James and Lily at once. He advised them to go into hiding. Well, of course, you-know-who wasn't an easy person to hide from. Dumbledore told them that their best chance was the Fidelius charm. How does that work? Said Madame Rosmerta, breathless with interest. Professor Flitwick cleared his throat. An immensely complex spell, he said squeakily, involving the magical concealment of a secret inside of a single living soul. The information is hidden inside the chosen person, or secret keeper, and is henceforth impossible to find, unless, of course, the secret keeper chooses to divulge it. As long as the secret keeper refused to speak, you-know-who could search the village where James and Lily were staying for years and never find them, not even if he had his nose pressed against their sitting window. Bro does not have a nose, though. So Black was the Potter's secret keeper? Whispered Madame Rosmerta. Naturally, said Professor McGonagall. James Potter told Dumbledore that Black would die rather than tell them where they were. But that Black was planning to go into hiding himself, and yet Dumbledore remained worried. I remember him offering to be the Potter's secret keeper himself. He suspected Black? Gasped Madame Rosmerta. He was sure that somebody close to the Potters had been keeping you-know-who informed of their movement, said Professor McGonagall darkly. Indeed, he had suspected for some time that someone on our side had turned traitor and was passing a lot of information to you-know-who. But James Potter insisted on using Black. He did, said Fudge heavily, and then, barely a week after the Fidelius charm had been performed, one more page. Black betrayed them, breathed Madame Rosmerta. He did indeed. Black was tired of his double agent role. He was ready to declare his support openly for you-know-who, and he seemed to have planned this for the very moment of Potter's death. But, as we all know, you-know-who met his downfall in little Harry Potter. Has gone, horribly weakened, he fled, and this left Black in a very nasty position indeed. His master had fallen at the very moment when he, Black, had shown his true colors as a traitor. He had no choice but to run for it. "Filthy, stinking turncoat!" Hagrid said, so loudly that half of the bar went quiet. "Shh!" said Professor McGonagall. "I met him," growled Hagrid. "I must have been the last to see him before he killed all the people. It was me what rescued Harry from Lily and James' house after they was killed. Just got him out of the ruins, poor little thing, with a great slash across his forehead, and his parents dead. And Sirius Black turns up, on that flying motorbike he used to ride. Never occurred to me what he was doing there. I didn't know he'd been Lily and James' secret keeper. Thought he'd just heard the news of you-know-who's attacking and come to see what he could do. Why didn't shake it he was. And you know what I did? I comforted the murdering traitor!" Hagrid roared. "Hagrid, please," said Professor McGonagall, "keep your voice down." How was I supposed to know he wasn't upset about Lily and James? It was who he cared about. And then he says, "Give Harry to me, Hagrid. I'm his godfather. I'll look after him." Ha! But I'd thank everyone. That's all for today. Bye. See you tomorrow.